mission, we have been speaking consistently on the need to not only survive the COVID-19 pandemic, but also thrive and move ahead. In this series, you have heard a number of voices, experts, corporate titans, who talk about how India can move ahead. And right now, there is a plan that the government has as well, which is the Atmanirbhar plan to make India self-reliant. To speak on the path ahead, I'm joined today by a very special speaker. I have with me Naveen Jindal, chairman of JSPL, a very rare voice to see on television. So, Mr. Jindal, we're really thrilled to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Tamanna. It's my pleasure.
Let me start off, and because we've not heard from you in a long time, and just to catch up about where we are. We are towards the end of lockdown 3.0. We are seeing the beginnings of a fiscal plan and a massive amount which has been declared by the government of 20 lakh crore rupees. We're also trying to figure out what happens next. How do you see the situation as it stands? Let's begin with that.
Okay, firstly, this pandemic, the whole world is suffering from this COVID-19. So I appreciate the efforts made by Government of India, by the various state governments to contain this pandemic. Because otherwise, in a country of 1.3 billion people, this would have really created a havoc. So I appreciate the way Government of India and the various state governments have handled this situation. This very difficult situation, and yesterday's announcements by the finance minister and day before what the Honorable Prime Minister said about Atmanirbhar Bharat. So we've always believed in being self-reliant, and so this is a very welcome step with all the statements they have made, with all the things that government is planning to do, all the steps that RBI has taken. So we just feel that all these things need to really start happening soon. This lockdown has been has had a very adverse impact on all the businesses. So it is very important that they are revived. And now the World Health Organization and everyone, is saying that this COVID-19, this virus, we can't wish it away. It's going to stay. So we have to learn to live with it, learn to work with it. So it's very important that we start. And this lockdown initially, yes, was important. It is important. But now we have to also restart the economic engine. So luckily for us, like the industries that we are in, which is steel and power generation, they come under MSME. And we have these large campuses in which we have the townships also and the plant also. So for us, it was relatively easy to continue to keep working, taking care of all the safety precautions. We continue to work. But now it's important, but all our customer base, because all the construction all over the country has stopped, all our MSME, all our customers which buy steel from us and do some fabrication or wire drawing, so many hundreds of things that they do with the steel, they were all shut. So we want them all to restart and also not to have liquidity problems, because these 2 months of shutdown,
yes,
is has a very adverse impact on all of them. So it's important that they do not have any liquidity crisis. So with all the steps that the finance minister spoke about,
yes,
that about easing of liquidity, easing of labor laws. So these are all very welcome steps. I hope they are implemented earnestly, sincerely. That is the main thing.
Absolutely, and we'll go into a bit of detail on that. I just want a quick word from you, Mr. Jindal, on one of the points that was announced for the power sector, which was a 90,000 crore rupee liquidity boost. It's essentially dues of discoms being paid against dues that are awaited, and PFC, REC will push them out. Do you think that's a very important component for the entire sector right now?
Of course, it is very important. Just to give you, say, our example of Jindal Power. So, say there are many state utilities which owe us more than 1700 crore rupees. So we have not done anything wrong. We have supplied them power, participated in these tenders, supplied them the cheapest power, and then we do not get paid. We do not get paid. And so many companies have actually gone to NCLT and they have become bankrupt, and the state electricity boards have not been paying them. So it's a very serious situation. So with this kind of a 90,000 crore infusion in the state discoms, so to pay the generation companies, to pay for the railways, to pay the coal companies, I think it's a very welcome step. But they must also find permanent solutions, because you give them money one time and they able to pay you for one time. That's not, again it will all all it will all add up again. So they must make the changes, the reforms that are required to be made, so that the discoms are self-sufficient. They are economically viable, and they are able to continue to pay for the power that they produce. And in India, when we want to improve the quality of life of people, you know, power consumption is a very, very important parameter. So it is directly related to your quality of life. If you have a fan in your house, whether you have an air conditioner in your house, whether you have a refrigerator, whether you have television, whether you have proper lighting. So all these things are basics now all over the world. And our power consumption is one of the lowest in the world. It's only around 1100 kilowatt hours per person per annum, which amounts to only about 3 units, about 3 kilowatt hour per day. So if this can go up from 3 units to 5 units, then I'm sure people's quality of life will improve. All the power plants which are operating at 50-55% plant load factor, they could start operating at 85-90% plant load factor, and all the NPAs associated with those with the power industry, they would all be gone. So it's very important that the state discoms, they reform and they become economically viable.
Yeah, absolutely. You said a little while earlier, Mr. Jindal, about the need to now get on with life, per se. And I want to refer to a very interesting post that you put out recently, where you talked about the need to actually be able to use, to fly for work. Of course, governments are still figuring out all across the world how to start commercial flights, whether to fly it or fly them or not. But if I'm not mistaken, you made the argument that let us at least use our own, corporate flights and get on with our work. How would you really explain that argument when we're in a situation where all transport is shut?
So, Tamanna, I would say that to fly to faraway areas, to get to far-flung areas, because say in our case, our steel plants are in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha. So these, if we travel by road, it will take us 2 days, to travel to the plants. It's very important that for our senior personnel to be able to go and visit the plants and also lead our men from the front. There are thousands of people. There are like 15,000 people working in Odisha. There are 10,000 people working in Chhattisgarh. So for as the leadership team must be able to go and visit them, to go see the preparation for COVID-19, to see how they're performing. And they have been working day and night. Steel plants, power plants, they work 24 hours, 7 days, 365 days in a year. So whether it's Holi, Diwali, whether, they're working all the time. So it's very important that, we keep in touch with them. Obviously, with technology, we keep in touch, but, you're not able to meet everybody. So if a person wants to be able to go, I can understand commercial flying, in an aircraft, if there are 200 people or 100 people, you don't know those people. There are much more challenges in a commercial flight. But if it's a small, we have NSOPs, non-scheduled operator permit holders, which are smaller aircrafts. If 4 people, 5 people are traveling, and all those are known people, so then there should absolutely be no problem. And then, so the smaller planes, my basic argument is that the smaller planes, actually, we should have never stopped them. And now we need to start immediately flying. There are so many people, who could be stuck all over. I mean, two of my brothers, they are abroad and they are not able to, get back to India. They're in our family. So there could be so many thousands of people who are stuck here and there. So many pilots who are going to lose their currency. If pilots, if they do not fly regularly, they are not current anymore. So many aircraft will not be airworthy anymore. So it's very important that we revive this. Obviously, I can understand the concern of the government, but sometime amidst these concerns, we get over cautioned. We become over conservative. So I think we have to approach this in a more pragmatic manner, and we must start the I like I said, like I like to say, open up the skies again.
Okay. Mr. Jindal, I must play devil's advocate here because, this is coming at a time when we have a large number of Indians desperate to go home. I get your point completely. This is, a different section. But there are a large number of Indians desperate to go home who are making that journey on foot, who don't know how they will get home. And we've seen all of those scenes as well. Do you think that something can be done to help them as well?
So, Tamanna, obviously that is very, very unfortunate. Even when I go on road, I see sometimes people, carrying their bags, and we've seen on television and newspapers, carrying their bag, their children, their, old parents on their, shoulders or on bicycle. It's really, really, really sad. It's unfortunate. We have to be able to take better care of them. Okay, but there is no relation in obviously that has to be done. That is inhuman what they are going through. They must never go through that. And I'm sure state governments, everyone is making efforts, but not enough. So surely a lot more needs to be done. So there's these migrant workers, they need to be taken better care of. They play a very important role in our economy, whether it is agriculture or construction or manufacturing. They play a very important role, and they need to be taken much better care of. And I feel we as a society, as government, we have all failed them. We have all failed them in not being able to take care of them. So, but that has no relation with flying. It doesn't mean that if we are not able to take care, so we should not let anybody fly either. They are two completely separate things. It's like if somebody is not being able to fed properly, it's not that people who are eating properly, they should stop their food also. It doesn't help. Two wrongs don't make a right. So they are separate things. We have to on all fronts. There may be thousands of fronts, and it's not easy. But wherever people can fend for themselves, we have to allow them to fend for themselves at least.
Let me take the point of opening up further. Now, we know that lockdown 4.0 is going to happen. You mentioned earlier that there is no wishing the COVID-19 away. And we're still waiting to see what the formula will be. This time, possibly it will be left to state governments to decide more and more on how things open. What would be your prescription, Mr. Jindal? Because if this economic package has to actually work, you will need to restart economic activity so that there is some demand.
I feel that it should be left to the state governments. State governments or the people on the ground, they know exactly where the problem is, what needs to be done. Suppose Delhi is so big, right? Delhi is big. I mean, we have more than in NCR region more than 25 million people. So you can't say that Delhi has become red zone. There are certain pockets in such a say a large colony or a township. Suppose if one family gets, you can't term the whole township as a red zone. Maybe just that house needs to be, people in that house need to be quarantined. Other people need to take care. We need to take care of them. So the thing is, we sometimes we overreact. So now I think time is to stop overreacting, but to take action, to take the right actions. So similarly, we can't say, oh, this state is in red zone or this district is in red. District is too big. Some of our districts are much larger than many of the countries. So we have to see where exactly the problem is. Those areas have to be targeted. That house has to be targeted in the sense of providing them relief, providing them all the support, and to ensure that they stay there or if they need to go to the hospital. Not that we disrupt lives of all the people. So we really have to That's what I say. We, along with the virus, we have to continue to be productive. We have to continue to start, keep living our lives.
What do you make of a lot of companies, of course, these are tech companies, looking at work from home as a permanent situation for a large number of their employees? Do you see the way we work actually changing in the future and in the post-COVID-19 scenario?
Yes, I definitely see it changing, and it changing for the better, because there are a lot of things that can be done remotely, that can be done over a telephone call or email or a video call. But just we are all habits, creatures of habits. So just as our habits are that we want to meet, we all the time want to meet and discuss. Obviously, when you meet, the meeting or the discussion is better, I would say. But I think even over even over a video conference, you get 90% of the same impact. So it will change. It will change for the better. I hope there's going to be less traffic on the roads, less crowding in the streets, and less pollution in the air. So there are some good side effects of all this has happened. So I hope we keep the good, and but we restart our economic engine so that people can start earning. And now with government speaking about investing in infrastructure, that's a very welcome step, because nobody is going to be giving away, or you can't be distributing money to somebody, or how long can you keep on feeding people? So people have to find work again. They have to be gainfully employed. So once they are gainfully employed, infrastructure we start to rebuild the infrastructure. So automatically, the economic engine will start and things will start to happen.
A lot of talk is now on self-reliant India, be vocal about going local, and also about becoming an investment destination for the world. As the world order changes, people want to move out of China, etc. Do you think India is up to the task? What do we need to do to move ahead in this direction?
Okay, so definitely we have to aspire to get more and more investments. But I think there is no dearth of investments in the country. In India, there are many, many millions of people who are very entrepreneurial. In fact, in India, there are too many entrepreneurs. Okay, so those entrepreneurs, those millions of entrepreneurs who have already invested in India, I believe they need to be taken care of. If we take care of the people who have already made their investments here, automatically then we don't need to invite anybody. Once the world sees the people who are invested in India and they are doing well, they will automatically flock to India. So nobody comes just by inviting them. They see how the people who are already invested, how are they being treated. So once we talk about all these reforms and the banks start to lend, we take it a little bit easy on all these laws and everything. We stop to harass people, the various authorities that we have in our country. So we be a little bit more pragmatic. We see the economic impact of all these decisions, some of these decisions that we take. I'm sure once the environment is more conducive here, automatically, people from other countries would also want to come and invest here. They would want to form joint venture with Indian companies. They would want to have partnership with already existing businesses to really, start their businesses very fast. It's not easy to start a brand new business, to buy land, to set up a new factory, everything. So, but if something is already there, existing, to join hands with them and to start is much easier.
So then let me get your take on some of the reforms that, the hope is that we push through. We've seen some states undertake what they're calling labor reforms, tweaking labor laws. It's led to a bit of controversy. What's your take on labor laws and how they need to be changed?
So see, I'm no expert on it, but I basically believe that, yes.
Well, you hire a lot of people,
yeah,
so you are definitely someone with skin in the game.
There are a lot of people who are there to take care of this, but obviously if it is simpler and to hire people and to also let them go when you don't need them, then obviously you would be willing to hire more people. Otherwise, we are always very, very cautious to hire new people because so many times hiring new people, even for a temporary job or something, would mean that you cannot let them go when the job is over. And that is the reason that you go for more and more mechanizations. And so I think what some state governments are doing, we heard about Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh doing this. So these are all welcome steps. So we all have to see, obviously we have to see the best interests of all the workers, their health, their safety, their social security. They must get the minimum wages, they must be taken very good care of. So obviously these are all very important aspects. But sometimes the inspector Raj, the labor inspectors coming and just trying to find faults with things. And so if there is demand going to be for labor, the labor will automatically go to those industries which take better care of them, right? So there should be competition amongst the industries to woo workers, and whoever would pay them and take care of them the best would be able to attract them. So I feel this inspector Raj over these labor laws and all that should be reduced, and if the laws are simpler and modern, I'm sure it would help not only the industry but it will be good for the workers also.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Jindal, for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Tamanna. All the best.